Go on
All
then.
right, so welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today we're here with Scott Harrison, a coach at Woking. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Scott. I'm currently the academy manager at Woking Football Club. Currently an A licensed coach as well. I've worked in academy football for the last 20 years. Started off at Wimbledon Football Club. That was the original Wimbledon before they moved up to MK. And after that, I spent 8 years at Brighton Hove Albion, working from the under 11s up to the under 18s until I returned back to Woking after I was previously at Woking in 2011.
How did you start your coaching? How did you get into it?
Basically, I used to play a lot of football as a youngster anyway. I had an ambition and a drive to try and play and become a professional footballer, but weren't good enough. But still played a decent level of non-league football and played for the likes of Horsham in the Ryman League and stuff like that. But then I looked down the coaching route, and basically I got in with a senior pro who was running a community scheme and academy at Crawley Town Football Club at the time, called Larry May. And he put me all on my qualifications from the age of 16. So when I was 16, I took the FA Level 1 coaching badge. And then from there, every year to the Level 2. Then I've done my B licence at 20. And then I've done my A licence near the back end of my 20s. About 28, complete my A licence.
Jake?
We'll just keep going.
All right, so you said that you've been at quite a lot of clubs coaching. What would you say your favourite one is?
I think it's when you're there. I wouldn't say I've had a favourite club in particular. I think when you work for that club, you put all that you can into it to try and produce players for that club. And like anything at any club, you look to try and progress up the ladder and get to the highest point in that club, really. I've had great times at a lot of different clubs, and I've worked with a lot of good technical players and players that have progressed into the professional game. But at the same time, yeah, I think at any club, you just try and work as hard as you can to progress as high as you can. And like at Woking at the moment, I thoroughly enjoy my job. I thoroughly enjoy being around the club. It's a good club to work with. And as I said, it's a club with a lot of ambition, and there's no reason why us as a club in Woking can't become a Football League club ourselves and even progress ourselves in the academy and in the first team level as well.
Is it hard to get used to talking to players, if you know what I mean? As a coach, you need a good communication. Is it hard?
Well, you say one of the part of the coaching tools is being a good communicator with all your players. All your players are totally different. It's like Douse with the first team players. They're totally different. And you've got to act in different ways with different players. And some players you can probably talk to easier. Some players need more further detailed information on how you're going to progress them. So, yeah, you need to communicate well with your players. But one thing that we talk about in the academy at Woking is that we're always honest, and you have to be honest in football. Every player we've got in the academy at the moment do have dreams of being in the Woking first team. Some players have dreams of moving on further back into the Football League, but we have to manage them dreams and communicate with them in the right way to progress them in the right way, because the likelihood is not every player at Woking Academy is going to make our first team. But on the other hand, we've had a good pathway and we've had some good success stories in the last, 10 years of getting players into our first team, and some have done very well and gone even higher.
Jake?
So you said that you played football when you were younger. What point did you realise that you're not going to be as good in football as you could in coaching? And what point was it that you changed your mind and decided you want to be a coach?
I think around about the age of when I was playing decent level football till 16, and then after that I went into the non-league kind of circuit. I think about 25 really, it was a case of I'm only going to play non-league football. Realistically, I'm not going to go and make myself a professional living out the game, and it was a decision I had to make. And if honest, the coaching took over the football in the end. That I've got more in depth and more involved with the coaching. The qualifications took up a lot of my time, and when you do start out on your coaching ladder, it's not just going into a club and getting the good jobs like academy manager or a youth development phase coach and stuff like that. You have to do the hours, and you have to make yourself like a footballer, be recognised. And if people notice you and spot you doing the right things, you will then start to progress. And I said from 25, I would say the coaching really did take over, because that's what I'm doing now, and I have a love and a passion for it.
Was it hard to change from hard to make that decision?
If honest, no. To be fair, I think the coaching I enjoy more than the football. I got to a stage when I was working at Wimbledon Football Club, and it came to a stage that I was coaching 7 days a week within the academy, and I was having then to motivate myself to play football. And I was getting to a point that I've been coaching football all day. I love it, but I was finding I weren't loving enough to go and play because I weren't getting my own time to relax and do what I had to do to probably recharge my battery. So the decision was made because I think I got more involved with the coaching that the football came second in the playing. The football came second in the end.
Are you glad you made the decision then?
Yeah, definitely. I'm never going to make it as a pro footballer. And doing the job I'm doing now and doing the living I'm doing now, I've been lucky enough to put myself in some great environments and gone to some great facilities, met some great people from high up in the game that I probably wouldn't have met if I stayed playing non-league football.
Jake?
Would you say that being a coach works sort of like being a player, as like you have to get recognised a bit more, and the more you get recognised, the more clubs will come and ask you if you wanted to work with them? Would you say it's a bit like being a player?
It is in a way being like a player. If you want to be good and you want to work at the highest levels, you've got to have yourself. Well, you've got to be good at what you do. You've got to make sure your qualifications are as high as possible. You've got to make sure your delivery is done properly, i.e. on the field and off the field. And with coaching, there is a coaching circuit, like a player circuit. People will recognise what you do, and if you do the right things and jobs come up on the back of what you've done and you've got success rates, i.e. progressing players through, or a success rate of coaching at a good standard, then you will get recognised and better opportunities should come on top of that.
Are you the person who sets everyone the work in these times?
As in, what, in the academy at this present moment?
Yeah, like giving them some drills to do at home.
Yeah, at the moment it's been a bit of a funny situation. Yeah, we did put out the 10-week challenge. That was done by the academy assistant manager, funny enough, Ryan Dent. Myself and Ryan are working closely together at the moment, and along with Matt Winter, who is also academy goalkeeping coach and also with the first team. We speak regular of trying to put a plan together. We are looking now to gear up for pre-season return on the 29th of June. That is if we are back, but we had regular meetings with the first years and second years on Zoom calls. We're starting to set challenges. We're starting to get their thoughts about coming back. So, yeah, we are starting to put a program together, and we do set them little bits and pieces as we go along. As I said, as a management team or coaching team, we speak on a regular basis, and we've got to try and give them as much as they can to do at this moment in time, really. But the funny thing is, the season would have ended at the beginning of May. This would be their actual 6-week downtime now, where they could go and do what they wanted to do in theory and relax a little bit. But on the other hand, we've got to look at it in a different way. We've got to still keep them engaged and focused, because in theory, in 4 to 5 weeks' time, we should be back on the training pitch preparing for pre-season on the 29th of June.
Are you not so-called glad to have this break off, or are you just looking back to going straight back to football?
One, looking to get back into it. I think it's a case of we didn't finish our season at academy level, which was frustrating. We was doing very well in certain areas. We was in a cup semi-final with the under-18s. The 23s were third in the league and possibly could have still won that league. So, yeah, we would have liked to finish the season because it didn't allow us to see the players progress for them last couple of weeks to help us make some final decisions going forward if we needed to improve in strength in areas. Also, we wanted to see some of the other players who have been doing well with the first team, i.e. within training session with them at the moment, and seeing where we could have pushed them forward for Douse. So, yeah, it was frustrating that we lost the last, 6 weeks of the season. But unfortunately, we're in the same boat as everyone else, so we've had to do what we had to do. Yes, it has been a long time of lockdown, but hopefully when we get into June, we get a bit more guidance so we can start progressing. But looking at the one-to-one sessions that clubs are doing, and also the small group sessions that are starting to happen, hopefully we've had discussions already of things that we can probably start to add into our programme from the 29th to June, just to get the boys back for small sessions for an hour here and there, and just bringing them in on a rota kind of basis.
Jake?
Going on to like players, would you say you can spot the ones that will go into the first team, or that you can spot the ones that will go far, and you can spot the ones that probably won't make it as far, or you just not know?
I think you get an idea when players come to you who's going to be the ones that are really going to progress and push themselves, really. All players that we take in are all technically good. All players that we bring in, we believe, have got the right attitude and the mentality to try and push into our first team. But it is an individual thing at the end of the day. The player has got to want it and really want to push themselves and do the extra away from us, and do the right things in their own time also. And if you look at the ones that have progressed in the recent times, like Charlie Carter, Charlie Esther Cook, and even like Jaden Wareham at the moment, they do the extra away. They're always looking to improve. They're always looking to push themselves. They're looking to take advice on, and they want to be footballers. Sometimes we get boys that are very good, but do they really want to be a footballer? And it's a great living to have, but you've got to really want it. And there's only so much us as a coaching team can put into a player, but they've got to do that extra and have that mentality that they're willing to cut out maybe some social life to go and really get to the top.
Okay. All right, so my next question was, we've spoken to Jaden Wareham on here. What do you think about him as a player?
Well, Jaden, to be fair, we got a video of him back in, must have been near enough this time last year, around after the exit trials, when we spotted him up at Charterhouse after he was released from QPR. Didn't really hear anything for about, a good 6 weeks. And then I actually got a video message from his parents showing us a goal that he scored against Luton Town for Basingstoke, fun enough. And it was an absolutely worldy goal. And I messaged it to Ryan. I said, what do you think? Should we have a look at him? And we both said, yeah, if we can get him in, let's have a look at him. So I spoke to his parents, invited him in, and he came in and played an under-23s game straight away at East Grinstead midweek. Done very well, should have scored really. But didn't, the chance he did have, couldn't put it away. Had further conversations with him, and then he decided that Woking was the place for him. He did have a lot of other interests because he's a talent. He came to us, and from day one, his attitude and his desire to progress and get where he wants to get to where he is now is partially down to him. He's took on advice. He's played in every game we've asked of him. This year within the academy, across all the balls from under 18, under 9, under 23, he scored 29 goals in 30 games. And he's a proper goal scorer. And meetings I've had with Douse as well and conversations, they like him a lot. And I have no doubt he can be a success, and he's willing to learn. And he's a proper goal scorer. And he will score any type of goal. And he's aggressive, and he's strong. And yeah, I can't wait to see what hopefully next season brings for him and how it will progress him. And hopefully it'll be another one that will fit into the first team and stay in there for a long time.
Do you think he can make it further than Woking?
I think, yeah, we always said I think he can do. I think he's got the attitude and he's got the bite to do it. I think he's got to look at his levels and his targets and where he wants to go next. Probably if he does hit the ground running in our first team, he does score goals and he's a youngster scoring goals. I have no doubt that teams above will be looking at him and thinking, oh, he's a young lad here, playing at National League level, and if he's scoring regular, teams in League 2 and League 1 will probably have a look at him, because the difference between Conference and League 2 is probably not that different. It's just the professional status and the Football League status that is the difference. So, yeah, I think if he does score goals, I have no doubt League 2 teams will be looking at him. And at the moment, there's probably league clubs still looking at him because he had a massive impact as a 16-year-old this season. So, again, going back to one of your questions earlier, no doubt his name is circulating around clubs. And luckily, we've got him at the present moment, and we hopefully can work with him still and, yeah, progress him on, or hopefully he will score goals that will progress the club onto a new level.
Jake?
I think players like Jaden Wareham and the young talents give Woking a good name, and especially the Woking Academy a good name.
We hope so. We are a small academy compared to some of the other non-league academies. We don't look to take on massive amounts of numbers. We look to take on players that we can work with and give them realistic chances. And as I said, we have had a pathway of players that have gone into the first team in recent years. And to say Charlie Esther Cook has done very well. Shame he's still with us. We've got Jack Skinner, who was in the first team this season. I know he's out on loan. He's done very well at Eastbourne Borough in the Conference South. Charlie Carter, I spoke to yesterday. still keep conversation with him. He's doing very well being in the Football League now. He took an advice. So, yeah, we've got a long line of players that have progressed. And if you're going back even further, like the likes of Ollie Palmer, Chris Hussey, Joe McNerney, all playing in the Football League, even Craig Ross, our number one now. He's gone full circle. He started off in the academy at 16 when I was first here, and he went into the Football League and he's back again. So, yeah, we got players that can progress, and there is a realistic opportunity of players progressing here if you do the right things.
Right, moving on to Woking as a club. Do you think it's the best move for them right now would be to go full time?
Well, I think I can't really answer that question, to be fair. I think that's the first team management staff question to answer. And in the day, with the way the current climate is, being a part-time club has probably helped us. That we are in a better situation than some of the full-time clubs that are struggling to pay wages and they pay their players. But at the moment, I think Das has done extremely well on a part-time budget and a part-time basis. Why change it? It's been effective this season. You don't know where it would have ended. It could end off with a playoff finish. So at the moment, I think being a part-time side hasn't hindered us at all. I think there will be conversations one day where the club possibly might need to look at going full-time in this league. With the amount of clubs that are now full-time, they need to probably maybe keep up to speed with them. But at this present time, I think what Douse has done and the management staff above have done, yeah, why change it if it's worked? And I think it's probably helped us with this current situation.
Jake?
What would you say are the benefits of working with the academy rather than the first team?
I think it's like anything. When you're in a youth phase job or academy position like this, it is job security. People are not looking at results. They're probably looking at your pressure is producing players. I think if you look like people like myself or people that come out of academy football, for example, Anthony Limbrick, who came here a few years ago, came out of academy football, had great ideas, was very good at what he did, but he found it that difficult jump of going into first team management. It is a different ball game going from academy and youth football into senior football. As I said, youth football and academy football, people stay in it because it's job security. But I have no doubt people like myself and other academy coaches across the UK do have that ambition that they would like to have a stab at a first team level somewhere. But as I said, if you do move into first team football, you could be in a job for 5 years, or you could be in a job for 6 months. That's the difference, really.
How do you train players to for bigger games, like for example, for you, Port Vale or Barnet or teams like that? How do you train them differently to lower down the table teams?
No, I think it's a case of us. We have different scenarios that we come across every season. We part of our pre-season and part of the year, we do have a lot of games against category academies like your Brighton Hove Albions, your Portsmouths and clubs like that. And we find it that our players get motivated themselves to play them games, and they do perform very well. And they probably see it as an opportunity to shine and maybe progress into that level themselves. The games we find more difficult is when we are the bigger club in our leagues. People look at us as Woking, the National League side. They're under 18s. These boys really fancy themselves. So we'll have a go at them. And sometimes we find them games more difficult than the bigger games. So, yeah, we don't train them any different to any game. We try and give them indications of what the opposition are going to be like. We set them up in the same way. We work on certain things, but we just make sure that all our players know their jobs, what they should be doing. And, yeah, it's just a case of we say to the players, you've got to be motivated yourself, really. You've got to be motivated as a player to perform week in, week out, whatever the game is and whatever the occasion is.
Is that why you think the momentum dropped? Because obviously at the beginning of the season they were doing amazing. Did you think they just got a bit too carried away and that's why they dropped points?
I think, yeah, if you look at a lot of the games we played this year at under 18 level, we start off very well. We've got a good first year group, to be fair. A lot of them boys have gone in with the first team, and Jaden Wareham, Oliver Creed, who had a Surrey Senior Cup run out, Sam Evans, a local lad, also Jaden Hutchins, Mason Hancock, Leo Hamlin. Them boys have already gone in with the first team. I think it's a case of, if you look this year, our first year group are very strong. That a lot of the boys played a lot of football, and I don't know if we believe it caught up with them a lot. If you did watch a lot of them games, I wouldn't say there's one game this season we was outplayed in. it was a case of we didn't take our chances when they come along. There's been a lot of games where we was on top for 20, 25 minutes and we'll go at teams and we wouldn't take our chances and we'd get sucker punched by a scrappy goal and then we would have to then work our way back into games. We as a coaching staff, if I'm honest, we were disappointed with the under-18 season, league season as a whole. It wasn't going in the direction that we really wanted it to. But on the other hand, the positives were we had 5 or 6 players that did move into the first team situation. So again, that is what we're all about. Yes, you want to be successful, and we do stress this every year. We want to be successful, and we want the boys having that mentality of they want to win things and they want to enjoy winning things. But at the other end, we've got to make sure we're finding players that we can knock on Dowse's door and say, right, get this kid in with you, have a little look at him and see what he does. Because at the end of the day, that is what academy and a youth setup is, to hopefully save the first team budget by giving them players that they can bring in and use on a cheaper format for a little bit. And then you never know, like a Charlie, move them on and make a bit of money on. Or as like you've got with Jaden and Charlie Carter, Charlie Estacourt as well. They all went into the first team and gave good performances as well. So yeah, the 18s was probably a down the middle season, mediocre season, but we believe with them coming back next year as a second year group, they should be able to progress on and kick on a little bit more this year.
Do you have to, as a coach, have a great, friendship, contact with the manager? So Dowse.
Well, yeah, me and Dowse and Ian Dyer and Matt Winter, we all speak regular. So yeah, I'm very keen that we have regular contact, and I'm always up in Dowse's office. We're always talking about things. Dowse sends us first team players in the past if they need 23s football. Also, we've had trialists that Dowse has recommended to us. So there is that continued link between us and the first team. And it's very important to have that, because at the end of the day, we are one club and we want to work together as a club. And as I said, me and Dowse, speaking all the time during the season, messaging each other. And yeah, he's as good as gold. He's been brilliant with us again, like the managers have been in the last few years, that they've bought into what we're all about, bought into that the boys need opportunities. And yeah, this year Dowse has given every player we've asked to go in that opportunity. And we're always very aware that we've got to make sure they're the right boys that go in. And everyone that we have sent in, Dowse has been very complimentary of. And yeah, they've worked well for him in training sessions, and they've shown what they can do in friendly opportunities as well.
Jake.
Go on, George, keep going.
All right, so we'll move on to maybe even the future. What do you think maybe managing could be an option for you, or do you think coaching?
I think I've always looked to do coaching and try and stay as high as I can. But yeah, I've got ambitions. I've got ambitions that I want to progress as a coach. And one day, no doubt, opportunities arise sometimes in football that you cannot turn down. Do I want to manage? Yes, I probably do want to manage one day. I've been lucky enough in this position to work within the first team at times and also work under different types of managers, which has probably educated me in a good way. I've worked with Anthony Limbrick, I've worked with Gary Hill, and I've worked with Dowse. And yeah, all totally different managers, different styles, different ways of working. And from working with them, hopefully that would support me with ideas and ways of working myself and take the good points out of what they do, because they all have good points. And yeah, if I can mould that into my own style and own way of working, maybe that will give me an opportunity one day to manage and coach at a level as high as possible.
How hard is it to move to a different club, maybe even a different manager coming in? Is it that a hard change to take?
It's like any new manager that comes in, that we have to build a link and a bond straight away. Every manager is different. Some managers will buy into a youth setup. Some managers won't buy into a youth setup, and you see that from the top end down. But at the day, we just got to try and work with managers and show that we're here to support them. And that's what we do. At the day, if Dowse is successful and the first team is successful, us as an academy can be successful, because it will help us attract better players. So we've got to support what the first team do. We've got to support Dowse going forward for next season. And hopefully if we can have another good season and push on again, young players that are being released by Football League clubs or young good talent around the surrounding areas will hopefully start to look at Woking even more and think there's a good club there that I want to go and be a part of, and hopefully I can show what I can do.
Is it hard to find different players from around the country to come into Woking as a youth academy?
To be fair, yeah, it's not hard to attract players. There's always players are looking for opportunities, and I get emails every day from players from Europe in this country asking for trials and asking for opportunities because they know Woke is a national league and they see it as an opportunity, a stepping stone under the Football League to maybe show what they can do. What we find difficult is probably that we can't, take players too far afield because of finances for the club. We haven't really got a digs program where we can put players into. So we do have to look mainly local. We try and link in with the Football League clubs that are local to us for academy boys that don't get scholars, like obviously Wimbledon, like your Fulhams, Chelsea. We talk to all the Southern clubs, Southampton, Portsmouth. So we've got links with them clubs where we try and see what we can do with them players. And we also look at all the young local youth talent as well. And we keep our eyes and monitor local leagues to see what players are doing well. So we do have to keep our academy-based players to a local level.
Jake?
So you said that some players use Woking as a stepping stone. Do you feel as if they sort of like abuse the club like a little bit and they see it as a chance to get in the league and then go somewhere else?
I think all players are out for what they can get and look after themselves, really. At the end of the day, all players want to play at the highest level. And if there's an opportunity to play at Woking in the academy and make it into the first team, they see it as an opportunity and a pathway, they will take it. I don't think they're using it as a stepping stone in a negative way or a disrespectful way. I think they're using it as an opportunity for their own careers, because every player is in it for himself. But on the other hand, they need that other 10 players around them on a Saturday or midweek to help them progress. So, yeah, players that do come to us, I've never had a player, I don't think, in the academy of using us just for we're Woking. We're very cautious on that we just don't bring in any player. They've got to have the right attitude and they've got to buy into what we're all about. Because at the end of the day, if you're the most technical player and you're going to buy into us and you're not going to work hard and you think it's just going to be an easy street into our first team, you ain't going to work here. You've got to make sure that you're really coming to Woking because you want to be a part of what Woking Football Club is all about and buy into what the pathway is into first team football if you can get there.
When do you find them players? Because you said you get a lot of emails. How do you know this is a player we want, this is a player we don't want?
Basically, we do research again with our links we've got with academies and other coaches that I know and the staff know. We link in with them, we speak to them, we find out. We do a bit of homework on everyone that we find out about. We also have we have trials by bringing them into the current squad to see what they do. We go to many of exit trials during the season as well and look at players that are recommended to us. So yeah, it's just we make sure we check them out first before they come into us.
Is it hard to turn down players?
I wouldn't say it's hard to turn down players. As I said, sometimes you build a squad and you believe the squad you've got is going to be what you need. But as we always say to our players, there's always players out there that want to take your shirt, like our youth players, like a Jaden Wareham at the moment, wants to take in theory Jake Hyde's shirt and be the number 9 for next season. So football doesn't stop. There's always players coming along and there's always players out there looking for opportunities. Sometimes, to turn down players, you've got to be honest, and it isn't probably the nicest part of your position, but you've got to be honest, and we don't want to be an academy or a coaching team that's going to bring players on with no end goal. At the end of the day, there is a place for every player and there is a level for every player, and we've got to make sure that we give the right information to help them find that pathway to go into the right direction.
Do you like being a first team coach as well as a academy coach, or would you prefer to just be one?
To be fair, I've linked up doing the roles in both occasions. Yeah, when Gary Ewart was here and also Anthony Limbrick, I coached within the first team on a daily basis when the club was training during the days and combined it with my academy role. At the present moment, I say don't coach with the first team as much as I did. But in the day, I know Douse has got his team and in it with Ian Dye and Martin Tyler. And at the day, he's obviously got all the information, all the staff he needs at that time. But in the day, we will support them. I will support them and give them the players that they need and try and progress people through.
Jake,
would you see your role at Woking as a job or more of a hobby?
Well, I say I love what I do, so I don't class that I'm working. I enjoy my job every day. I love going in. I like socialising with the staff. I like the banter with the players and the staff. But at the end of the day, we do have a policy. When it's time to work, we work. And being involved with football, you can't have anything else, really. It's the best job in the world to have. And as I said, even though we're off lockdown at the moment, it's probably the worst situation to be in, because I do miss going every day and talking to people and putting your ideas across, and missing match days at the moment, because that is the best time of the week when you're going to put your wits and see what the boys can do and see if they took on the instructions and the work and the frame of work that we've done during the week.
Do you think they called the National League off too quickly?
It's a hard one to say, isn't it? The way it was looking at the time, I think the National League followed suit to a lot of the other leagues below the pyramid, didn't it? Because of like the Bostic leagues, and also the Step 5 and Step leagues. Everything got called off. So maybe they did call it off too early, maybe they didn't. I just think it's such a weird situation we're in. What is the right decision at this precise moment? If you're honest, if you look at League One and League Two, I think League One and League Two will probably get, or League Two has been called up, has been suspended now and finished now as well. It comes down to finances. At the day, these conference clubs that haven't got the money to pay their players or pay their staff if there's no fans coming through the gate. I think it probably was the right decision, but I think, like everything, when you look at the news every day, you're wrong if you're right, and you're right if you're wrong. There's no right decision. I think you just got to back what the decision is, and what it is at the moment. I think every league's going to have their winners and every league's going to have their losers, unfortunately. But yeah, at the day, it's safety first, isn't it, for all the staff and the players that they're coming into contact with.
Obviously, the Bundesliga is back now. Have you been watching that to try get some tips on how you can train maybe some players at weekend? No,
to be honest, I haven't watched none of the Bundesliga. I've basically been just looking at Sky Sports News and watching what the Premier League are doing really at the moment, and how they're training and getting ideas of sessions. Once again, being a coach and being a lot of forums and Twitter accounts and stuff like that, you're starting to see different ideas and different ways of working with players, with distances between you and the players, also how you would work with small groups. So we're getting ideas. We will start putting ideas together. And as I said, we hopefully will have the boys back training for pre-season on 29th of June if we can. And we'll have ideas in place to make sure that they're safe, and also the coaching staff are safe. But as I said, competitive football, we have no idea when that could start, especially at an amateur level like ourselves.
Do you think it's important to watch football as a coach to try get some tips in general?
I think as a coach, one thing is, I don't think you ever finish learning as a coach. Some people think when they've done their qualifications and they've done their A licence, your pro licence, stuff like that, some people might think, oh, I'm fully qualified now. The game changes every week. The game changes every year. The game changes day by day. Players change every year. And you as a coach, you've got to keep adapting yourself by learning new things and new ways to work with the players, to understand your players and to get your ideas across. So I think as a coach, you're continuously learning. And yeah, and every courses I go on, and every time I can get on courses, there's always new ideas and new ways to make you think as a coach of how you can get the best out of your players.
Jake?
I'm all out, mate.
Yeah, I'm all out as well.
Do you want to bring us to a close there, George?
All right, thank you for coming on, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate your time, chaps.
And you guys, if you want, you could check out Harrison Instagram. Check out our Instagram. We're going to be uploading some of these podcasts on iTunes and Google Music. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. And thank you again, Scott, for coming on. Stay safe. And
yep,
yeah,
thank you.
you.
Well, thank